Basically review my replays and how they're going and just make a comment on them. And also I'm going to do an unboxing. We're going to look at a couple things that I just received. Some books, magazines, and 3 card sets from vintage era seasons. And I'm excited about those. So just to review quickly my replays, I'm doing the Fall Classic Baseball, great game. Definitely try it. Give it a chance. If you like APA, if you like Stratomatic, you're gonna like Fall Classic Baseball for sure. It's the advanced version, but it plays just as simply as a basic APA or a basic Stratomatic. It plays that simple, yet it has the detail of an advanced Strat or a master game APA. And I'm playing the 59 Braves, and the 59 Braves are basically following their actual record, pretty much. They're pretty close to their actual record, a game or 2 off. My 76 in that replay, Aaron is struggling, whereas his batting average is good, but he's not hitting the home runs that you expect him to hit. And that's just because of my dice rolls. It has nothing to do with the game, because the home runs are on the card. I just don't roll those numbers. Everybody else is pretty much where they were actually in that season. That's in my 59 Braves. For the 76 Yankees, they're on fire. They're, I think, 41-11, something to that effect. They won about 40 out of 50 games, so I think I'm in the 52nd, 53rd game, around there. And everybody there is pretty much where they should be. Now, of course, there's always a guy that kind of does much better than he actually did in actuality for now, right? It's only 2 months into the season. And that's Mickey Rivers. He's batting, he was batting 400 till about 10 games ago, and now he's around 360. And of course, Carlos May was picked up from the White Sox. He's been on fire, but he only has, I think, 70 at-bats. So those are 2 outliers right now, but that I'm sure will change as we go. I mean, I can't roll anything but hits for Mickey Rivers. It's pretty amazing. And those are the 2 Fall Classic replays I'm doing. I'm doing a deep drive baseball replay for the 71 season. I'm replaying the Oakland Athletics. That's the season before they go into that 3 consecutive World Series appearance stretch where they're just, untouchable. And I've slowed down on that a little bit because I'm waiting for the designer who works really very, very slowly. And he's making a version 3, so he's redoing the cards. So I'm kind of waiting for that, even though there's nothing wrong with version 2. I enjoyed it greatly. So I just may play a couple of games just to get out of my system so I don't get frustrated that the 1971 season's taking so long. Not happy that 1920 was done before 1971. I think, I'm sorry, 2020 was done before 1971, and I don't think 2020 is even actual baseball season. I think it's more of a spring training. So I didn't play that this week, but I'm thinking of playing that today and tomorrow, at least 1 or 2 games, or maybe a series. Then, of course, I got my Status Pro Vintage Seaver replay, the 1983 season. Seaver's back, and Seaver's almost identical in his stats. I believe he was 3-5, and he's 4-2, something to that effect. So he's got a winning record with me because, of course, I've been basically pulling him a little bit earlier. I haven't been letting him get into so much trouble. Once he lets a couple of guys on base late in the game, I've been pulling him. So, that's on me. So he's got a really low ERA. His actual ERA at this point is 2.77. In the replay, it's 2.21. It was higher. So then I adjusted the way I played him a little bit. And, sometimes you let him go too deep, hoping that he'll get extra outs, and he doesn't. And then, of course, the ERAs balloon. So it's really you kind of feel it out and I try to stick to how, you know, his innings pitched is in reality. So I'm gonna definitely reproduce that. But it's really how you manage him. You know, he's an older pitcher, so I'm not gonna push him like I would somebody who's younger. But he's right where he should be in that replay. I think we're up to start 11 or 12. Then I have my 1961 vintage APA replay with the vintage boards, vintage sacrifice booklet, vintage dice shaker. And the Yankees they're undefeated. I think they were 8-0, and then they lost 4 in a row, which is pretty crazy. And then now they've started back on their winning ways. Maris has hit about 3 home runs in about 15 games or so. I want to move a little bit faster on that replay, although it's a little bit harder for me. Simply because APA is just so basic. You know, there's not a whole bunch of details in deep details in that game. You know, it's basically made as a basic game, so I struggle a little bit because the pitcher, besides pitching, all the pitchers seem alike. You know, you get teams with like 10 D pitchers, and you bring in one guy as a D, the next guy is a D, the next guy is a D, so everybody's the same pitcher. The only thing you're changing is the card with basically the name on the card. Anyway, but of course, you know, that's one of my favorite games because that's the game I grew up with. And so that's my 61 replay. I'm doing that. And that's about it. So now let's get to the unboxing. I don't remember. Okay. And then when I do the unboxing, I'll talk about a potential another project that I have in mind, and I'll explain why. All right, so let's continue on. And let's look at some of the things that I received. I picked up these from a guy named Chris White. He runs a Facebook group that's called Card Envelopes, APA Card Envelopes. And I picked these up because my 1961 set was really beat up. For example, check out the Washington Senators. That's bad news, you know? So look at that. So basically what I said, well, I'm going to save these and I'll put them in the box, but I want to have them in a better, you know, envelope. It's cleaner, nicer, neater. Just to, because I am playing with these cards. I'm replaying the 61 Yankees. And I have a bunch of APA, but I don't play APA that much anymore, to be honest with you. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. So this is much nicer. It's pretty close enough to the original, and it sends the message, hey, I didn't want them really like all, you know, all pimped out. I wanted to keep them simple because it is a vintage set and things back then were kind of simple. And I look at my Yankees set, and he's got a big tear right there. So instead of putting Scotch tape and glue and all this stuff, which I could do, I mean, I could fix these envelopes. I decided, it wasn't a huge investment, and I'm gonna have nice clean envelopes, and then I'll put those away. Anyway, so that's one thing that I took care of. I got some nice envelopes there. Let's put these to the side, and let's look at some of the other items I got. I picked up this baseball guide for 1977. It gives you lots of information on the 76 season. You know, I'm playing the 76 Yankees, replaying those. That's the first season I started rolling, so I have a connection to that season. I have a lot of memories from, you know, spending time in Queens doing that. There's a lot of stats and data here for each team. It tells you all about the teams. It gives you the stats. What I like are the write-ups. It tells you about, you know, Rick Wise leader in low hit games. It does a lot of write-ups on different parts of the game. That's one thing that attracted me to this. It's got also minor league stats, so I can look at what players are doing in the minor leagues if I need to. What else does it have here? Official baseball guide. Has box scores. It goes in depth on the World Series, what happened in each inning. All-Star game, another AL humiliation. So it tells you about, the season, the 76 season. The no-hitters, talks about the no-hitters, and so forth. I got that. A good friend of mine sent me a very cool, he knows I'm replaying the 59 Braves, so he sent me a 61 Braves yearbook. And that, of course, I love this kind of stuff. Takes me back to when I was a kid. Tells me the home games, the road games for the 61 season. I may end up having to play the 61 season. Shows me also the seeding. Has team pictures, has the farm teams, different nights that they had, all-time greats. It has advertisements. Look at this. This is great. I love this. The Rambler, the 61 Rambler. Now it tells you a little bit about all the players. Alfred Martin, John Logan, John Covington, Henry Aaron has a little paragraph on all the players. That's cool. So I can learn a little bit more about each player and their strengths. I'm not going to tell you their weaknesses, but at least I'll tell you their strengths. I also got a 1977 baseball Street and Smith's official yearbook. This again will give me more information on the 76 season, so it'll help me relive that. That's kind of cool. Lots of images of the players, helps me visualize the players. And it gives you a rundown on each team and what they're expected to do in that 77 season, right? It uses the 76 stats to make sense of it all. Then it has some really cool ads for different tabletop games. Send me, maybe I have a copy of his credit card number so that I can go to Cancun with that. What is this? Baseball, Econophone, American Sports Wire. Oh, look what it has here. Sherco 2, baseball simulation. Manage the greatest baseball teams in the history of humankind. Let's see what other ads it has. I love to look through these ads because these are the ads that hooked me. I was such a sucker, and still pretty much a sucker, but let's see. Oh, somebody cut something out. That's on somebody. You see, somebody got hooked. This is like an addiction. This is a drug. This is a drug addiction. Let's see what. Oh, extra innings. The ultimate in tabletop baseball. What you get when you buy extra innings. Random number table, a complete description of how to play. Thank you. Playing instructions, reduced to easy to use charts, full instructions, specially designed score sheets, all of the current major league teams, all Hall of Fame players, the top 400 players of all time, extra innings. And then of course you can order Sport magazine. Here's Pete Rose, and he signed this. I think this signature, of course, comes with the ad. He's sliding in head first. There's Mark the Bird Fidrich. So the mint 77 baseball cards, never before open boxes, $7.99, 1,000. Man, they'd be worth a lot more than $7.99 today. Not a lot more, but somewhat more. Stratomatic. Look at that. So you open the book, and what do you get? Stratomatic. That's a good spot to have it. They're investing money in their game. That's for sure. I wonder when we find the first APA ad. Here's another ad over here. What is that? Play Ball is up here. So cool stuff. And I have a copy of Sport magazine. Sport magazine. Tommy Lasorda, Sparky Anderson, Whitey Herzog, and Joe Torre. The Big Four. I wonder if any of our tabletop dice games had ads in these magazines. I'm wondering about that. In Sport, I think these were a little bit more expensive to advertise in, but they would have hit a lot of people if they would have advertised. Oh, I used to get tons of these. 3 or 4 times a year. The big penny steal. Order 10, whatever it was. You can order, take any 11 albums for a penny, then take the 12th one free. The whole thing was to sign you up and to get you to pay, you know, every month they would charge you $8 or $9 for something else that they sold you. So at the end, you know, they get you hooked, and then of course they're going to charge you later. So that's what they did there. A lot of people had that. I remember I got my Peter Frampton album from there, my Aerosmith album from there. They didn't have the greatest albums. They didn't have the most recently, so there's no real advertisements for any tabletop games. Okay, so let's get down to the cards I received. All right, so let's grab the first set of cards that I received. Now, why did I get these cards? Because I am going to play a Seaver 1983. He's back with the Mets. Replay using Replay Baseball, but the classic vintage version. I love the classic vintage version. Okay, and these are all I got was the National League, which is all I need, so I'm happy about that. And let's look at some of these cards. Let's look. So they got the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Expos, the Giants, the Reds, and the Mets. Let's take a look quickly at the Mets. These are the tall pitcher cards. Did somebody? Anyway, this is the Mets in the '83 season. I know pretty much everybody there. I've replayed this. This is the 4th time I'm doing it, but I'm doing it with Status Pro right now. But then I'm going to do it with Replay. This is the lineup. Mookie Wilson, Giles, Keith Hernandez is on the team after June 15th. George Foster's on there the whole year. Darryl Strawberry starts in, I think, May. Hubie Brooks is their third baseman. Hodges catches for a couple of months, and they bring in, I think, Junior Ortiz. You got Oquendo's going to be their full-time shortstop. So you got all these guys, and of course you got Mike Torres, Ed Lynch, Waltero, Carlos Diaz. You had a really good bullpen for the Mets. Tom Gorman, Jesse Orosco, Scott Holman, and Tom Terrific. There he is. Love it. And we're going to see how this game does in kind of recreating or simulating that season. That's going to be a blast. Looking forward to that. Playing Replay Baseball. I really like Replay Baseball. It's a great nostalgia feel, old-time feel to it. A great vintage feel. I love those vintage games. Love the vintage games. So that's one thing for my project that I have set up. Excited about that happening. Let's just slide some of this stuff over. So we have some space here. The next thing I picked up was from somebody who was dumping their collection and gave everybody sets for practically just pennies. I got in at the end because, you know, everybody's like sharks. And there's a lot of people that just turn them over and put them up on eBay. I don't do that. I'm not turning these over to put them up on eBay. I'm going to play them. That's the big difference. You know, I'm not a mercenary. But I got the 1971 APA season. And that's something that I wanted to get for a while. And it comes with the extra player cards. Now, the seller considered these to be good, poor, good, and excellent. Because of guys like this. He's got stains. I think it's from the envelopes. That's what guys have told me. So let me get some of the pitching staff out. Ron Bloomberg had a great couple of seasons where he batted way over 300. But then he had a lot of injuries and he never really made a real mark. Here's some of the pitchers for 71. Klein, Kekich, Bonson, Acker, McDaniel. Shortstop, Michael, Munson, Mercer, Peterson. So they had a pretty good pitching staff for 71. Stottlemyre, another B. So they got a B, B, B. They got 3 B starters, 4 B starters. Bonson, if you know APA, Klein, Peterson, and Stottlemyre. They're all pretty good. Swoboda went over from the Queens. He went to the Bronx, and he started playing with the Yankees. You got Roy White. He was there forever. It's in my 76 replay. Then you got the extra players. The extra player cards, which are really cool to have. Waslewski, Harding, Baker, and Little. Or Lytle, I can't remember. I forget that. I would check it out. So that's it for my 71 APA. Pretty good, pretty decent shape. I'm going to say I'm happy with the condition. He said poor, good, and excellent, something to that effect. Poor, fair, and good. But these are above average to me. I like the condition of those. Let me see if I can grab the Mets somewhere. I don't know if I can grab the Mets. If I can find them. Braves, Oakland. Oh, we'll look at Oakland. Let's look at Oakland. Oakland's fun to look at. This is right before they have those 3 World Series seasons. Bando and Vita Blue, their pitching staff. Brown, Campy, Tommy Davis, and Dobson, Duncan, Epstein, Fingers. So I'm kind of separating the pitching from the batting here. Knowles, Locker, of course, Mangual, Monday. He was with them. He's an excellent outfielder, a 3. You got Odom, you got Rudy, a 2. Then you got Gene Tennis, not a very good catcher. As you can see, a 6 is pretty low in APA, but he does have some power. So he'll give you a home run. Kurt Blefary, Cuckoo Blefary from Brooklyn, New York. You got Mike Keegan. These guys are really good shape. These guys are probably good to excellent almost. Look at these cards. These are very clean. So these are going to be nice. A nice set to add to my collection. Not hoarding. Only have one of each, and I play them. I will be playing Seaver. I liked 71 because that's Seaver's best season. So let's put the Oakland A's back. So that's another thing that I received. And with this same shipment, I bought 2 sets this week because I got them at a good deal. That's how I could afford them. Otherwise, I'm taking care of some things that I'm paying off. And let's look at the last thing that I received. And there's a reason I received them. This is my next I'm considering one of my next projects right here. It's Stratomatic, 1987. And you say, well, what's so interesting about 87, right? What's so interesting about 87? Well, the Mets, I've replayed the 87 Mets, and they had a monster season. And they were extremely explosive offense. I believe this is going to be the Mets here. You could, and let me go over some of the experiences I had. You could be down 7-1 in the 6th inning, and you're like, oh, this game's over. And 7, 8, 9, you win 9-7. That's the type of team that they had, Or you could be up 5-1 in the 5th, and all of a sudden you're tied, and then you come back and you end up winning, 8-5. So they had explosive offense. You could be up also 5-0 in the 1st. 6-0 in the 2nd. So they had a very explosive offense, and that's always fun to play. And they had Larry Dykstra. They have great on-base percentages. I'm showing you the. Let me show you the. So these are the pitchers and the batters. I'll put the batters on the right side. Orozco. They had their standard, pretty strong bullpen, and then they had pretty good pitching staff. Although they had lots of injuries. Ojeda only pitched 10 games that season. He was injured for 4 months. In the bullpen, you had Randy Myers. John Mitchell was a starter who came in to replace, and Doc Gooden missed a couple of months in this season as well. The first 2 months he was in rehab. He missed the Ticker Tape Parade in New York after they won the 86 season because he went out all night. Dwight Gooden had a pretty good season. Not a great season, but a good season. I think he was 3.21 ERA and he was 15-7 or something to that effect. Sid Fernandez had a pretty good season. He was 12-8 with a 381. Most of the pitchers didn't have as good a season as an 86, especially Ron Darling, who had a 4.20 ERA, and he missed the last 3 weeks of the season. David Cohn was 371, 5-6. He only pitched 99 innings. Rick Aguilera. Then of course you had the starters, Mookie Wilson, Tim Tuffle. But these cards are in excellent shape. Darryl Strawberry had 39 home runs, 36 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, over 100 RBIs, I believe. Keith Miller. You had Kevin McReynolds with 29 home runs. Lee Mazzilli, who had a good on-base percentage. Magadan, who had a good on-base percentage. Lyons, a backup catcher. Hojo hit a ton of home runs. Hojo hit 36 home runs, stole a ton of bases. All right. Keith Hernandez had a very good on-base percentage, batted .290, but got a lot of walks, 81 walks. Gary Carter had a good season with 20 home runs. Lenny Dykstra had a high on-base percentage as well with 10 home runs, batted .285, but had a good on-base percentage and a good speed. So they're fun to play, fun to replay, and see if they can improve their record and maybe catch the St. Louis Cardinals. And that's it. That's going to be my unboxing for today. And I hope that you found that interesting. And as you can see, you can tell the excitement in my voice. And I got a lot of toys to share and toys to roll with and so on. And I will see you soon. We'll be playing some games today. I don't know what I'll be playing, but check out my channel. Remember, like and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys. Take care.